Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode with MarkTech. This is the continuation of my public service announcement about the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and Series 9 ban in the United States, because as much as we have speculated about possible remedies, well, it has now sort of almost come into effect. However, this is really the point where you should basically start panicking if you really want one of those watches in the United States, and I will give you small tips in how you can deal with that anxiety. So let's get started. At first, let me highlight what exactly is happening right now. And the easiest way to do so is by you and me going to the Apple Watch website, going to the Apple Watch section of that website, and then checking what exactly it says about the Series 9 and Ultra 2. Well, it says currently unavailable for the Series 9, and below that it says the same for the Ultra 2. However, if we look at the SE, which is obviously Apple's cheaper option that does not have the oxygen sensor that is part of the patent dispute with Massimo, well, that one is still available and still at the same $249 price. So if you want an SE, you're fine. If you want an Apple Watch Series 9 or Ultra 2, there are a couple of things you have to consider. Now let me at least give you some good news, and that is that you can continue to buy Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 at Apple's retail stores. Well, you can do so until December 24th. So I'm making this video on December 22nd. So if you really feel like getting an Apple Watch Series 9 or Ultra 2, consider getting it right now in the United States. Another piece of good news is that third-party stores, which obviously include many distributors like Target, Walmart, and Best Buy in the United States, those can keep selling you an Apple Watch Series 9 or Ultra 2, with the main downside being that this will be supply limited. So Apple cannot just keep supplying those stores and then they can indefinitely keep selling those Apple Watches. No, it's all about getting rid of supply that Apple has shipped to them over the last couple of weeks and months. Unfortunately, once supplies run out there, you're basically out of options in the United States. Now, in my last video, I've discussed multiple remedies that Apple could enact in order to keep selling their Apple Watches, or at least after a short ban period, restart selling them. Well, one of those options, unfortunately, is trending into the direction of a hard no, and that is the potential of an intervention by the White House. So basically, President Biden enacting some kind of veto against it. He has until December 25th to do so, but most statements of the White House trend in the direction of them basically not wanting to get involved in that kind of dispute. That is really unfortunate in my opinion, especially once I get to the last problem that has to do with this ban. But as I tend to say here, it is what it is. Now, next on the timeline as a remedy option would be an appeals process against this ban, and Apple would basically start it as soon as possible on December 26th. However, I have no idea how long such an appeal would take up, or if it would even have a good chance of success. So while this is an option and one Apple will most likely pursue, this is very likely not the option that will actually give us back the Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 on a short enough timeline. The next option would be some kind of legal agreement with Massimo, where Apple basically licenses the blood oxygen patent from them in order to keep selling their Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 as is. And the last option, which is basically a minor version of the drastic hardware redesign that I had suggested, would be, and this is currently an option being discussed by people like Mark Gurman, would be a software fix where Apple in firmware disables the blood oxygen functionality, and since that piece of hardware therefore becomes pretty much unused, the patent does not really apply and Apple could keep selling those Apple Watches. I don't know if that will happen until December 24th, December 25th, December 26th, or even in this year. Maybe Apple still hopes to put some pressure on the White House to enact a veto to prevent this ban from fully taking place. Maybe Apple also holds some hope that an appeals process will be short and successful, but the software solution could be a very good interim solution, and obviously everybody would win, at least from the option of buying an Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2, even if that meant not getting the blood oxygen functionality in the meantime. Now, while I am pretty optimistic about such a software patch solution, I should also note, and maybe lower your hopes a little bit, is that it's not a foregone conclusion if Apple offers us such a software patch. Currently, Apple's engineers are working on adjusting how oxygen saturation is determined and how the data is provided to customers. They hope to basically counteract this ban this way, but since the ban is based on a hardware patent, we cannot be fully sure if that would be enough to fully get rid of the ban. I am pretty optimistic about it. I've heard some legal experts be optimistic about it, but I don't want to give you false hope either. Unfortunately, when it comes to false hope, there's also another negative thing that I have to cover before I finish this video, and that's a rather big one. So what is so big, scary, and negative that I put it at the very end of the video? Well, it has to do with device repairs and servicing, and that goes a little bit against what I said in my previous video, where I and most people believed that repairs would not be negatively affected by that ban. However, there are a couple of nuances that unfortunately don't make it so. Well, as the ban gets enacted, basically, Apple is telling us that they will not be able to repair out-of-warranty Apple Watches that have that blood oxygen sensor. And as I've outlined in my previous videos, those Apple Watches with a blood oxygen sensor are not just the Series 9 or Ultra 2, but they are also Apple Watches Series 6, 7, and 8. So that's actually quite a long list of Apple Watches and recent and powerful and software-supported Apple Watches that will not be able to be repaired by Apple. Now, why is that? And that goes back to an issue that people talk about Apple all the time, and that is how their devices, especially the smaller and more intricate they are constructed. Well, they're so complicated in their build, and they're so heavy on glue and non-standard parts and stuff like that, that basically often, or more often than not, Apple does not actually fix a broken device, but they replace the devices with a new one, which, I mean, that's kind of cool for you as a customer because you basically get a completely free new Apple Watch. Now, there are some repairs that they can do on the Apple Watch, but they're very small in number. A lot of fixes also happen through software, which obviously does not require them to give you a new device, but very often repairs involve them basically giving you a completely new replacement device. And since that is the case, and they will now be extremely supply limited in their parts, they will not be servicing out of warranty devices. That is important. If you have a device that does still have warranty and Apple Care, you will still be provided for. I believe that Apple will just mobilize all supplies that they can still have for it without like creating new Apple Watches for the United States specifically, at least, and then give you a new Apple Watch so you aren't a completely dissatisfied customer, because obviously they don't want that. They want to still keep some semblance of a positive relationship with consumers, especially if they might also be potentially working on some kind of software patch that takes away functionality that has been there for years. Product replacement, which is called CRU apparently, programs aren't available in the United States for the watches below: Apple Watch Series 6 or later, Apple Watch Ultra or later. Yes, so the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and Apple Watch Ultra 1. So we didn't have as many Ultras as regular series here. This is unfortunately really, really negative for me because obviously, if you're a long-standing consumer, you might have just an expectation that if you go to Apple, if you pay a sort of fair price, they will repair your device or they will give you a replacement. However, Apple cannot provide replacements for any out-of-warranty Apple Watch with a blood oxygen sensor anymore. And that is a little bit scary because obviously the Apple Watch is not really easy to repair. Yes, there are some people who probably will still provide service for you, but once the parts run out, then those people cannot help you either. And as I said before, software-based repairs will remain available, but obviously that does not help you if your Apple Watch happens to be broken on a hardware level. Apple Watch models that are under warranty are allowed to be replaced. This includes both standard 1-year warranty, which, yes, this is an issue with the United States. They only have 1-year warranty. A lot of countries have 2-year warranty, but that's a topic for another day. For new devices and devices protected through an Apple Care warranty program. So at least if you really have a new device, which does apply obviously to the Apple Watch Series 9 or Ultra 2 as they came out in 2023, but if you also have Apple Care warranty, so extended warranty on one previous generation Apple Watch, Apple will also take care of you. I don't know if they might at some point run into supply issues for those devices, or maybe just the law allows them to keep on getting supply for devices with warranty, but this is the kind of situation we have to deal with, and this is the one situation that could actually get the government involved, in my opinion, because this is an actually like anti-consumer thing, because sure, I mean, it hurts Apple, of course, and that's kind of the point of the ban, but now people with devices still not really old by any standard, right, are not maybe able to get your devices serviced, even if they're willing to get money. And that is obviously not what any kind of consumer protection agency should actually want. Customers will not be able to exchange an Apple Watch after the ban comes into effect, but accessories like bands can be replaced and returns will be accepted. So some silver linings, I guess, but most things pretty negative. Unless there is a veto, this decision from the ITC will come into effect December 24th. You can still get an Apple Watch Series 9 or Ultra 2, as I said before, and that means that they will be covered by 1-year warranty, or if you get Apple Care. But obviously, this is not a help for anybody with a Series 6, 7, or 8, or original Apple Watch Ultra. In the United States, at least. It seems like most countries will not have any kinds of issues, at least for now. So I hope that it stays this way, because obviously I have an Ultra 2 and I'm very interested in that servicing and repairs are available for as long as I want. I want to keep my blood oxygen functionality regardless of what happens in the United States. However, my deepest sympathies for people in the United States, because it's not just for people, as I speculated originally, for people who want a Series 9 or Ultra 2, because they are now unavailable through the digital store. But if you want one, as I said before, get it through a physical store until December 24th, or through a third-party store for as long as supply is still available. But it now seems to also be an issue that will hurt owners of previous Apple Watches like the Series 6, 7, and 8 and original Ultra. So if you have one of those Apple Watches and it breaks and it's out of warranty, then unfortunately you're out of luck, and this is why I'm using the end of this video to still appeal to President Biden, who I hope is based on this decision, who sees that this is actually hurting consumers, that Massimo, a patent troll, should not be winning such a situation. And yes, while in an ideal world, companies should be punished for bad things, and I would love for, if Massimo was actually like a good faith actor, for there to be some kind of licensing agreement, at least for now, in order to protect consumers. There should be some kind of veto. Maybe it could be temporary. Again, I'm not a legal expert, so that Apple has some extra time for their appeals process, or to find some kind of licensing agreement with Massimo. But this is a bad situation. It's now hurting not only people who want an Apple Watch or a very new Apple Watch, a shiny new Apple Watch, but it's now also hurting existing customers, and I'm completely against that. I know I'm kind of sometimes known as an Apple sheep, and I defend Apple. As I said before, if you actually do some research and look up Massimo, you will find that they're very, very much a patent troll and not actually a company that delivers anything innovative to the market at large. So this is entirely different than, let's say, a patent dispute even between Apple or Samsung or Google, right? Companies that all are actually very active, very innovative, very productive. And on top of that, we now have a situation where it's not just a product being affected into the future, but previous products and therefore customers being negatively affected. So President Biden, please enact a veto. Apple, please go as quickly as possible through the appeals process, or at least find some kind of solution with Massimo. This is my appeal here in the end. I hope I could have given you some tips on whether or not to get an Apple Watch right now, how to get it, and I will keep you updated. I know most of my customers are not from the United States, but we have gotten a huge influx of new US viewers, and I'm very grateful, and I will keep you updated and posted. And of course, please let me know what your experience now is with buying an Apple Watch, with owning an Apple Watch. If your Apple Watch Series 6 or newer breaks, let me know what like your repair experience is. Maybe you go to like a third-party repair shop, what happens there. I'll also keep on doing my research on this topic, and I hope that it gets resolved as soon as possible so consumers can get back to buying what they want and enjoying the products that they had already bought. I'll see you guys next time, very likely with a video on Beeper Mini and how pathetic that entire situation is getting. I'm always open for constructive criticism. Please, if you enjoy this content, like, subscribe, share, and if you want to support this channel directly, you can find my Patreon link in the description. And if you want to contact me, follow me on Twitter and Threads. The links are also in the description. Thank you so much. We now are at 72,000 subscribers, probably hitting around 75k or something until the new year. That's kind of an internal goal if I actually manage to produce more videos. It's been an incredible journey, and I hope to keep up some good production in the beginning of the new year. Thank you again so much. I'll see you in the next one. This is Mark Tech, tuning out.